Hello, very warm welcome to all my dear class 6 students. We have been continuing with our English class and today we have to start with a story again, and this is going to be a very interesting story called Fair Play, okay? The title of our story today is Fair Play. You will find that in page number 84 to 90, and there are also some pages behind that you will have so many exercises to solve. So I'm requesting all of you to listen to this explanation carefully if you want to solve these questions without difficulties, okay? And our Fair Play is in chapter 7. If you have your books with you right now, because I believe you have that with you, please open your books to page number 84 to 90. That is chapter 7, Fair Play. The title itself says that there is something good to be done, okay? Have you ever went into a difficult situation because one of your friends have done something wrong? I believe that you have experienced this once in a while, even when you are at school. There might be some friends who are very close with you, and your friendship is very good that you do not want to disappoint your friend. Though you know that your friend has done something wrong, you might not have reported it to your teachers, nor knowing very well that that is something wrong. So we are also going to read about a story like that, okay? We are going to have some characters, Juman Shaikh, okay, and Algu Chaudhary. They are going to be two very good friends here, and we will also come across a word called punch, the head punch, that means the one who is the head of the village, okay? Here, what I'm going to let you know before we start the story is that it is always very important for us to make the wise judgment, to stand for what is truth, even if it has to go beyond your friendship bond. During our teenage years, especially at your age, you are in class 6, so there are times that you do not want to report the bad things that your friends have done to your teachers or to your elders. Though you knew very well that you have to do it, you wanted to protect your friendship, so you might have stopped yourself from doing what is right. And this is what the two friends are going to see, okay? In your village, I'm sure you have village councils, right? You have the village council chairman, you have the GBs who are in charge of the village, who are the ones who makes all the decisions according to what they think is right and according to what they think is going to be good for the whole of the village or the whole of the council. And we know how important it is for the role of a village council, right? In the village council, when the heads of the village make a decision that becomes very, very strong and you have to follow it unless you want to face some discrimination from the villagers and from the council. Juman Shaikh and Algu Chaudhary are two very good friends that their friendship bond cannot be explained. They trusted each other so much, okay? They trusted one another so much, and everybody knew that they were very good friends. On top of that, they were respected by the villagers. You know who is respected? A person who is good, who is well behaved, who has good moral characters are always respected in a student's life. A person who always obeys the teacher and who always does his work on time are the ones who are respected, right? Whether you like that person or not, deep inside your heart, you have a respect for that person. And so these two persons are also like that. They were respected so much by the villagers because they were good, okay? They stand for what is right. And then they trust each other so much that when one has to go out of village, you can imagine that, right? Because they are already majored people with family, okay? They have their families, they have their wife and children. And so when one of them have to go out of the village, the other one will look after his friend's family. See, it is very difficult to get this type of friendship. Though we have friends, our friendship bond is difficult to go to that point where you can trust your friend with your family. Sometimes when somebody gives us the responsibility to do something, we feel a little uneasy, or we are not very happy with that work, though you consider that person to be your friends, okay? So, but their friendship was at a different level. You can imagine your best friend at school. What do? When you cannot come to school, you might even pass your application to your friend, or you might even pass the message. Or when your friends have taken your copy, you will tell that good friend, your best friend, to bring it for you, right? So you can imagine yourself in the position of Juman and Algu Chaudhary, okay? They were very good friends, and they were also very good persons. And one of them, that is Juman Sheikh, had an aunt, okay, an auntie, and then she was getting old. And as you grow old, you know that you need somebody to look after you, right? Though you are young and smart and strong at this time, because you are just in your teenage, right? You are just at the beginning of your teenage, you are still very active. You can do anything that others send you, for that matter, even to run to a long distance and bring something for your parents. But when a person grows old, we know that they always need the care, the help of some of their family members to survive. Because forget about the other works, even to sit down and to stand up becomes a difficult thing for them. So their aunt, okay, Juman's aunt told him that if he is going to take care of her, she would transfer all her property, okay? You know what is a property, right? Property can be in terms of money, even in terms of house and land, right? Especially in the villages, lands are very important. If you have a field, in our context, in our Naga context, what do? If a person has a good field nearby the river, we consider them to be rich, right? And a person who has a lot of money, a person who has good houses, we consider them to be rich. And so likewise, Juman's aunt also might be a rich lady, but since she could not take care of herself, she made an agreement with her nephew, that is Juman, that she will transfer all her properties to Juman's name, because that is very important. Even if you want to own a particular land, you have to have the documents, right? You need to keep a certificate that says that the property belongs to you. So after all the arrangements, she transferred the property to the nephew, because she had the trust that he will look after her very well, and also because Juman was a good person. And then Juman and his wife and the family were taking care of their old auntie, and things were going very well for 2 years. Okay? For 2 years, everything was going on so smoothly. They cared for their auntie, they cared for her, and provided for everything that she needed to survive. Okay? This had been going on for 2 years, but after some time, even Juman began to grow indifferent. That means he began to act as if, or he was ignoring the auntie's needs, okay? He did not even care of what auntie needs. And then the wife, sometimes the wives are cruel to parents. You might have seen some of them. There are some wives who are very good, but there are some wives who are not so good, that they do not treat their husbands, mothers, or relatives very well. And so Juman's wife must be one of them. She grumbled, okay? That means she complained every time the old lady asked for food to eat. Every time she serves her food, she would complain. And then, even though she was doing like this, Juman did not get into this quality, but after some time, he also became like his wife, okay? He also began to treat the auntie in a bad manner. The things that she needed were not provided well, so the auntie began to grow. She began to feel sad, okay? I'm sure you also feel sad, right? When somebody treats you badly at home, or even at school. What do with your friends? When somebody mistreats you, you feel bad. And we as human beings, we all go through this. Imagine your grandmother, for that matter. If your grandmother is mistreated by your parents, what will you feel? It's going to be a very sad thing, right? She has given you all the property. She has given you everything that she has. And then the family is not treating her. and that is surely going to be a very bad thing for all of us. And so their auntie was feeling so sad. Every day she would be insulted, okay? Every day she would be insulted by Juman and his wife because they do not want to take care of this old lady anymore. I understand. We all can understand, right? When a person grows old, they also starts getting grumpy. But that does not mean that we have to insult them. We have to mistreat them because as we grow old, our health, our body is not very healthy. We might have a lot of problems and complaints in our body. But we should know that we will also one day face that problem. So we know that if we want to be treated well, we also have to do the same thing to others. That's what we have always been hearing of, isn't it? But Juman and his wife might not have realized this. They were always insulting the aunt, the old lady, and every day she would swallow these insults. Okay, she did not complain because she knew that even if she complains, that's not right. And as an old lady, she might also be very understanding. She was bearing all this mistreatment from her own nephew. You can imagine that. Not even from others. From a person you love so much. Imagine a person whom you love. Maybe you have a younger sister, a younger brother of class AB, and you are taking care of them every time, but every time they disobey you, what will you feel? You don't feel good, right? You don't feel good. The same thing was experienced by this aunt, okay? Because the nephew was not caring for her, though she had given them everything that she had. It's very wrong to do that on our part. I want all of you to know this, okay? We should always take care of the old people at home. They might complain, they might be sometimes a little irritating, but we have to understand that they are aging, and because of the problems that they have in their physical body, they also might be grumbling because of those issues. But they did not come into this realization, or even if they realized, they were greedy. They just wanted the wealth, but they do not want to take care of their auntie. So their aunt just suggested that she want to have a separate kitchen, and she said that she asked her nephew that he gives her monthly allowance. Okay, monthly allowance means the things that she needs in a month, so that she will have a separate kitchen, because every time she asks for food, the wife would grumble, the wife would complain and saying that she's asking so much. She did not want to hear all these things every day. Okay, she did not want to hear all these things every day repeatedly. That was the reason why she asked for a separate kitchen. Though they will stay in the same building, she wants to have a separate kitchen where she can prepare anything that she wants to have and have it. But they did not even want to give her this. Okay, Juman was greedy. He was selfish. He did not want to give her these things, though his auntie had given him everything that she had. She had earned her whole life. It's very sad to know this. And then the auntie was sad, and that was the reason why she went to meet the villagers. She went and told them her problems. They want her to stay with the nephew, because we know as a family breaking away from one another is also not very nice, right? You don't get away from your parents' house just because you quarrel, isn't it? Maybe your parents will scold you, but every time they do that, it's always for your betterment. They know what is good for you, and that's why they scold you. But that does not mean you have to run away from home. So likewise, even the villagers did not want the family to break up, because a family breaking up is not a good thing, but they also did not understand what this old lady was going through. The old lady had to go through a lot of problems, mistreatment from her own children, right? Mistreatment from her own children, and the wife would always insult every time she asked for food. And she did not want to continue with this. That was the reason why she was approaching the villagers for help. Some villagers would just laugh at her, okay? Sometimes we are also in that position. So I want you to be careful with this. When somebody shares their problems with you, it might be funny to you, but don't ever laugh at the person's problems, okay? Because if you do that, you are doing a very wrong thing. We have to understand this every time. The auntie went and shared her problems with the villagers. Some of them laughed at her, some of them sympathized. That means some of them felt pity for her and maybe they were encouraging her, but some of them just told her to be with the nephew because that is the right thing according to them, because they did not really experience what she experienced, okay, in her own house. She had been going from one place to another, but the villagers would not take this case. In towns, what do we do? In towns and cities, we go to the courts, right? We go to the courts, but in villages, we take the case. If there is any problem, we take it to the village council. We're the council members. We're the heads of the village, like the village chairman. We take care of that case, okay? She had been going from one to another. Nobody was willing to help her. They understood her problem. They knew what she was going through, but they just gave her words of comfort, okay? They just encouraged her and then told her to be with the family. And one person also said to her to go and page up with her nephew, okay? To go and page up, to go and reconcile. Reconcile means getting together again, okay? Though, and they might also be saying words like, it is normal for a family to have complaints, but we can always solve it. That's what they might be telling her. We do not know what sorts of words these villagers were using, but they did not really understand. So finally, what she thought was, the old lady decided to go to Algu's house, okay, Algu Chaudhary. We know that I've explained that in the beginning of the story, because Algu Chaudhary is the best friend of Juman. And when she went to Algu Chaudhary and told her complaints to Algu, he understood, okay? He understood the problems that was faced by this old lady, and he said, Chachi, I understand, okay? Chachi is the Hindi term for aunt. And he said, Chachi, I understand your problem, but Juman is my best friend, you know that very well, and how can I go against my own friend, though I know that he was doing something wrong? She's just asking for her share, okay? She's not asking to take everything that she gave to the son, okay, to this nephew. She was just asking for the monthly allowance, that her nephew would provide the things needed in a month, because she is an old lady. She cannot go and earn anymore. She is already weak and tired. That's why she was just asking for the monthly allowance from her nephew, but the nephew did not want. He just insulted the aunt, saying that his wife knows how to manage things well, and that she does not need to have a separate kitchen, and that was just said to the auntie. So with all these pains in the heart, you can feel, right? Sometimes words can be more painful than the beatings that you get. There are some people whose words are very powerful, and so the aunt with all these grudges went to one and the other, but no one is helping. And then when Algu said that Juman is his best friend and that he cannot go against it, the auntie said, my son, will you stand for your friend instead of standing for the truth? That's what she said to Algu, that is Juman's friend. And then after that, she told her that though Algu reminded her that he cannot stand against his friend, the aunt said, I'm going to nominate you as the panch, okay? Head panch, where you have to stand and speak for me. And then she went back. After this old lady went back, okay, these words kept repeating on in his mind. He knew that it is not right to defend a friend who is in the wrong position, but he also knew that Juman would feel very bad on him if he stood against him in the panchayat. Okay, and so he was confused. But the words of the auntie were always ringing in his ears again and again. And so he was not exactly sure of what to do. But the next day they are going to have the panchayat meeting again. So we will get to know of how the decision goes in the next class. And with this, we are going to end our class for today. Thank you so much. I'm hoping to see you again in the next class.